This afternoon, the cost of living set to go up following proposed 13% hike in transport fares from this Sunday. Also, hundreds of illegal shops and structures demolished at Abosokai as Joint Police Military Task Force embark on Make Accra Clean exercise. Plus, British Airways reverts Accra-London-Accra flights to Heathrow Airport. An aviation expert will break this all down for us, what it means for prospective travelers. Hello once again, my name is Charles Ida. We have details after this short break to stay. Hello and welcome. It has been a busy Thursday at Abosokai as a joint police and military task force has been embarking on some decongestion exercise there. We shall give you details on that. But to other developing story, British Airways has reverted to Heathrow Airport for its Accra-London-Accra flights for now. Now, sources close to Joy Business say that the decision was due to a drop in traffic levels for winter as the UK continues to have quarantines and red lights. In this regard, British Airways had to maintain a certain level of service at the Heathrow Airport to keep the slots. The intent to revert to Heathrow is expected to be finalized by July this year, as that is the winter slots deadline. In January 2021, Ghana government rejected the decision by British Airways to switch the London-Accra-London route from Heathrow to Gatwick Airport. In a memo, it said the airline had already made its decision known without much explanation. According to the government, British Airways went ahead with the move without any consultation. Well, let's connect with Sean Mendes, an aviation expert via Zoom, as we put this all into perspective. Sean, we're grateful that you joined us. Break it all down for us. What exactly should prospective travelers take from this particular story?
Thanks for having me again, Charles. I think the important thing for travelers right now, especially if you're booked on a British Airways flight, is to constantly check your booking, because there is a lot of changes that are happening. The EU and the UK are constantly reviewing their travel policies during COVID times, and I think British Airways is reacting to that by having to move flights between Heathrow and Gatwick Airport accordingly. As far as Ghanaian travelers to the UK go, if you are going to the UK, I think if you're terminating in London, whether you're flying to Heathrow or Gatwick is less important. But if you have onward connecting flights, say onwards to the US or Canada or Europe, obviously there are far more connections available for you at Heathrow. And I think this is something that British Airways is gambling on a bit, that the current US restrictions on people transiting via the UK will be lifted by the winter, allowing them to get more traffic, connecting traffic through Heathrow. And also, as you mentioned, there is a slot requirement. Usually the slot requirement is that airlines must fly a minimum of 80% of a given slot in order to maintain the rights to fly that slot the next year. This has been constantly under review because of COVID and forced cancellations. Last year, it was waived completely, that even if an airline did not fly, they were still allowed to maintain the rights to that slot. That's been reduced now to 50% requirement, but that still means that airlines have to fly 50% of their schedule. And that's a big reason, again, why British Airways needs to maintain more flights at London Heathrow rather than at London Gatwick, which is less slot constrained. And, Accra being a market where they have potential connecting traffic may be something that they choose to maintain at Heathrow as a result.
Great, but do we foresee us going back to the Gatwick Airport? If so, when? I mean, do you foresee British Airways going back to Gatwick Airport being the main route? If so, when?
Well, I think if they go ahead and switch to Heathrow in October, as it seems that they are likely to do right now, that is definitely going to be in place till the end of March. The slots and schedules are filed twice a year. So for the summer schedule, which is from March to October, and then the winter schedule, which is from October to March. So if they're going ahead with switching back to Heathrow for October, that will remain in place till March and probably will be reviewed after that. Now, what will likely cause that? I think the answer is going to be how United and Delta are performing with their non-stop flights between Ghana and the US. The US is a huge connection market for passengers on British Airways, traveling out of Accra. And if they find that United and Delta and more passengers are flying those airlines non-stop to the US, they may again need to review whether Gatwick makes more sense or Heathrow. So if passengers want to see the flights maintained at Heathrow, they probably need to fly British Airways rather than non-stop to the US if that's what their desires are.
I believe that as an expert, you may have had some correspondence with, stakeholders, passengers and those who matter within the aviation space. What exactly are they telling you, considering the switch, along these two airports by British Airways?
Well, I think the general consensus is that people who are flying just between London and Accra actually find Gatwick slightly more convenient. And that's because the public transportation at Gatwick is a lot cheaper. And Gatwick is connected to the main national rail network, which means that you can fly into Gatwick and then catch a train from Gatwick directly to pretty much anywhere in England. While at Heathrow, it's still off on the Heathrow Express Spur line, which is more expensive. And you need to then change trains at Paddington to be able to get elsewhere. But, again, a lot of people who fly British Airways, in fact, I believe it's 46% of the passengers who fly British Airways from Accra connect onwards at London. And, there's some are just going as far as Manchester, connecting at Heathrow, some are going to New York, some are going to Tokyo, and all over the world. And for those kind of connections, Heathrow is far and away better. In fact, Heathrow is probably the best connected airport in the world for connecting traffic. So as far as that goes, I think, there is a split in passenger opinions and in corporate opinions as well as to which one makes more sense. But the US market and how the US policy goes, I think, is going to drive most of the decisions as far as British Airways is concerned, whether the flights remain at Heathrow or whether they go back to Gatwick, probably now for next year's summer.
Sean, we're so grateful for your analysis. As an aviation expert helping us understand, puts to close terms the matter of British Airways switching once again from Gatwick actually to Heathrow Airport. We shall follow this up for updates as and when we do have them. But let's still stay on transport-related matters, because the cost of living in the country could be going up significantly in the coming weeks. Now, this follows the 13% increase in transport fares from Saturday. George Yafi highlights other areas in the hike will impact in the economy in this report.
Looking at the structure of the economy, any marginal increase in transport fares could affect everything in the country. First, let's look at goods and services. From next Monday, the cost of carting some of these basic foodstuffs from the farm gates to major markets across the country will definitely be increased. Most traders may then be forced to pass on these adjustments to consumers. This should mean that the spending budget on some of these items will definitely be increased. Well, if you have enough disposable income, then this should not be a big concern. The increase will not only affect foodstuffs, but some raw inputs used by industries for production, a move that could also affect the cost of doing business in the coming months, thereby resulting in some items produced by these industries going up. But for most industry watchers, the big challenge is how to monitor those operators that are not members of the GPRTU and the GRTTC. These drivers may even go beyond the approved 13% effective this Saturday. This increase will in the long run affect inflation rate, which could also impact on your investment returns on your funds and even interest rates. But Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, recently noted that he doesn't think inflation rate could be affected badly, hence the decision to cut the policy rate to 13.5%. Well, if you thought that these hikes were too much to bear, coming on the back of the recent adjustments in taxes and fuel prices, well, pray that the utility companies do not have their way. Otherwise, utility tariffs could also be going up before the end of the third quarter of this year.
You're still watching The Marketplace. It has been a busy Thursday morning at Abossey, where a joint police-military task force have embarked on a decongestion exercise there as part of the Make Accra Clean exercise. Hundreds of illegal shops and structures were affected by this particular exercise. And for some updates on what exactly happened, we're joined via Zoom by the co-chairman of the Abossey Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng. We're so grateful, Clement, that you joined us on The Marketplace. Update us on this decongestion exercise. Were any of your members affected? I'm afraid we've lost Clement there. We shall work the lines to get him back. But in the meantime, MTN Ghana says that it is repositioning its business strategy for the next 5 years to implement new policy directives that seeks to create opportunities for local small businesses to thrive. Speaking at the official launch of its 25th year anniversary in Ghana, the chief executive of MTN, Solomon Adedevor, hinted that the next 5 years is to ensure that innovative services are provided for customers in the areas of rural telephony and digital platforms for small businesses.
Our vision is to lead the delivery of a bold new digital world to our customers. And this underpins our sustained investment in the MTN Ghana business in the areas of rural connectivity, encapsulating everywhere you go, and in implementing digital platforms to give the opportunity to our customers to live a modern, connected life. To achieve this, we have repositioned our strategy from Bright to Ambition 2025, which aims to build the largest and most valuable platform business with a focus on Africa. Ambition 2025 is anchored on 5 pillars: fintech solutions, Ayoba, enterprise network as a service, and API marketplace. In this strategy, we see exciting opportunities for mobile commerce where fintech intersects with our Ayoba business. We're hoping to aggregate APIs to accelerate the digital ecosystem expansion. Example, a customer should never need to interact with an agent to manage their MTN experience. All SMEs should be able to become digital without IT skills in-house by leveraging our platforms, and by so doing, can pay taxes digitally through mobile money.
Well, the Minister for Communications, Esla, also assured the company of a less tighter regulatory regime to support innovations by the company.
We've taken a policy decision to strive for a lighter regulatory touch, which will spur greater growth and innovation in this pivotal sector. There are many opportunities knocking on our doors, which will require the digital infrastructure, the applications and services which your company, MTN, provides. Artificial intelligence, and Selo mentioned a few. Machine learning, big data solutions, connected devices, safe city solution, linked databases, payment systems, e-commerce, the Continental Free Trade Area itself. And we've stated on several fora that it is digital technology, applications and services that will make the vision of the African Continental Free Trade Area a reality and a success.
It has been a busy Thursday at Abossey. A joint police-military task force have embarked on a decongestion exercise there as part of the Make Accra Clean exercise. Hundreds of some shops and structures were affected by this exercise. And for us to understand the updates proper, we're joined via Zoom by the co-chairman of the Abossey Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng. Clement, we're so grateful that you joined us. If you could update us on this exercise today, were any of your members affected?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. Yeah, as you rightly said, as part of the Let's Make Accra Clean project, which is being embarked by the Greater Accra Regional Minister, a lot of decongestion and sanitation exercise has been conducted in various parts of Accra, and today was the 10th of Abossey. So as early as 6:30 a.m., the security people made up of the police and the military were all here, to join us, as well as the Municipal Assembly and the Regional Coordinating Council to join us to embark on this decongestion and sanitation exercise.
But early on, a colleague of mine was there, and we had a varied response to this. Some traders were not in for the decongestion, whereas others were. What exactly are your members telling you, and how did this impact work this morning?
Well, naturally, those who will be affected will not like the sort of operation that was conducted here today. Because,
and when you say affected, when you say those affected, what do you mean by they were affected?
Yeah, so those of our people who are selling in the middle of the road, some have erected umbrellas, some have put table and chairs, and they are selling in the middle of the road. And you all agree with me that even their place or their location in the middle of the road poses a danger, to their life. So they are the targeted people that we want to, get rid of and make the road accessible to customers who will come and then patronize our goods. So naturally, those are the people who will not be happy. But I can tell you, the entire people of Abosokai, particularly those who are selling in the shops, are very happy with the exercise that was conducted here today. So
what happens after the decongestion exercise?
Yeah, because we want to sustain this decongestion exercise. A joint task force has been set up by the association and then the municipal assembly, so that after today's exercise, they will be monitoring the situation and make sure that the program that was conducted here today is sustained.
But of course, we're having this conversation on the back of, the possible relocation of your members to a different hub. Of course, the regional minister has hinted about this. What has been the update on this particular intended move to relocate your members?
Yeah, the relocation exercise, hasn't got anything to do with decongestion, exercise that was embarked here today.
I get that perfectly, but I would want to know, aside from the decongestion exercise, update on this intended move for your relocation.
Okay, like I told you the other time, 3 sites have been, proposed for this relocation. And like I told you, this project is a long-term project. It is not something that is going to be done maybe 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. Maybe the next 3, 4, 5 years that this project will commence. But at the moment, 3 sites have been proposed. That is the Amasamai, Afienya, and then Dahunya. So we are about, to visit the proposed sites and then ascertain it, see which place will be convenient for us. Then after that, a lot of work will be done before even the project will be commenced.
Clement Boateng, we're so grateful that you joined us. He's co-chair of the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association. 2 things. He first talked about the decongestion exercise there and the need for them to maintain the sanity issues there. The second one has been the relocation, where 3 sites has been proposed for them to check out in the subsequent years. We shall keep an eye on this development to give you updates as and when. But beyond that, Memphis Rural Bank has posted a 165% increase in profit after tax at the end of the 2020 financial year. Now, the increase from 4.3 million in 2019 to 11.5 million cedis was recorded when the COVID-19 pandemic had heightened. Officials say the bank devised strategies that addressed the uncertainties businesses and individuals were faced with during the pandemic. Prince Apia has more.
The 2020 financial report of Memphis Rural Bank saw deposits increase by 42.8% during the period. Profits after tax also increased from 4.3 million Ghana cedis in 2019 to 11.5 million Ghana cedis in 2020. These figures were recorded in spite of the difficulties presented by the novel COVID-19 protocols. Dr. Alexander Asma, a CEO of the bank.
People were careful in spending money. People were not doing businesses as they used to do. So there was an opportunity to mobilize funds that were in the hands of people that they were not spending or they were not going out with. So we saw that, and then we crafted a strategy to take advantage of that. So we realized that our deposit mobilization went up from 254 million to 363 million, a 42.65% growth in the pandemic. We also realized that that was the time that people also needed funds for consumption. That is when people also needed money to reinvest in their business because of the way the COVID has impacted their businesses. So people were seeing the risk because it was COVID. If you lend to a company, a business, and the business doesn't perform, it will collapse and you can't recover your money. But we saw the opportunity.
And because the local economies in the operational areas of the bank revolves around MSMEs and farmers, management of the bank has set aside a special fund to increase the credit disbursement in these areas.
And we have to empower people economically. We can't take our minds and our eyes off our farmers. So we develop a new strategy for which we can lend to these farmers. And that is to approach them from a group lending approach, where we are able to put a group of farmers in the same community together, give them the same orientation, and let them give themselves a solidarity guarantee from each person so that we are able to lend them. Last year, we gave over 32 million cedis to farmers. That's over 10,000 farmers in our community, mostly cocoa farmers. And this year, we are doing about 42 million Ghana cedis to the same farmers. And the beautiful thing is that last year, we were able to recover significantly. If you lend to farmers and we are able to do over 95% recovery, it's really, really great. And so we are motivated to do it more because
Executive Director of the Association of Rural Bank, Comfort Owusu, is entreating the public to patronize the industry.
Rural banks are doing so much, building schools, boreholes, providing services for their communities. So if you are in the community and you save with rural banks, the benefit comes back to you.
The 37th annual general meeting coincided with the 40th anniversary celebrations of the existence of the bank. A good number of the old and new staff who have distinguished themselves and contributed to its success were awarded and acknowledged. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, if you want your products to sell, presentation and packaging really counts. That is making a startup Muna Twozafi stand out. It was started by pharmacist Mariam Bedu, who was looking to start something different in the food business. Here's a repeat of the Joy Business Van.
Hello, Joy Business Van. This is Mariam Bedu, CEO of Muna Twozafi. I'm a pharmacist by profession. I graduated from KNUST in 2007, and I'm currently a practicing pharmacist with special focus in sales and marketing in the pharma industry.
So what is a practicing pharmacist doing selling Twozafi?
So it all started 2 years ago. That was in 2019. After close of work one night, I was in deep thoughts, and interestingly, I stumbled upon the food businesses in Ghana. So I decided to do a little research online to see what their focus was on. And I realized that most of the focus was on the rice dishes. And most of them were packaged very nicely. But when you research into Twozafi, which is a delicacy by the Northerners, I'm a Northerner, and having those roots, I thought it's intriguing to at least venture into that kind of business.
Twozafi, the thick porridge of corn flour, eaten by tearing off a chunk and dipping it into a soup, usually of a green leaf, locally called ayoyo, is a staple food of the people in the northern part of the country.
Looking at the way people love Twozafi, especially those in Accra, realize that a lot of them prefer to go to their favorite food joints, or better still, to order for it and sit at the comfort of their homes and eat it. Having in mind that Twozafi is something that is not so easy to prepare at home. So looking at all those in totality, we decided to give it a try. And our first major break came in 2019, when when pharmacists were having their annual general meeting in Accra with over 2,000 pharmacists present. So we were able to register as a vendor, and then we served Tuwo Zaafi hot on the premises. And the feedback we got afterwards was very mind-blowing.
That was when Miriam decided to give a bit more attention to the business, targeting corporate institutions. She developed the Muna Pack.
With this Muna Pack concept, there's so much excitement on the market. Anyone who has seen it is so fascinated by the packaging. The pack alone is inviting. Plus, we have a table mat, wet wipe, spoons, and then the various things that go with it.
The packs are eco-friendly. Being a pharmacist, Miriam knows too well packaging hot food in polythene bags, as is often the case, is unhealthy. The Muna packs are doing very well thanks to social media.
The main challenge has to do with the cost of delivery. So what we currently do is that we run a 50% discount. So we pay 50% of your delivery cost to the delivery company, because we've partnered with a delivery company, so that you only have to pay 50% of the other delivery cost. It's working a bit, but we are looking to ensure that in future we can also have our fleet of riders, so that we can reduce the delivery costs to the customers.
As orders continue to increase, Miriam has got great plans for Muna Tuwo Zaafi.
We want to expand, and as we expand, we also want to introduce the other sources of soups that you can use to accompany the TZ. We have the bra soup, we have the dry okra soup, we have the miankuka soup. So we want to gradually introduce all these to the people of Accra, so that they can also get accustomed to new varieties which are equally nutritious. And not just that, the long-term business is to also expand our branches outside Accra, and in future, if possible, because we're already thinking of ways to package it to those outside the country as well.
Taking Tuwo Zaafi international, well, that sounds exciting.
And for all the Tuwo Zaafi lovers, I trust you now know where to find Muna Tuwo Zaafi. But that's how we end the marketplace. I'm Charles Ayete for Mornings. You log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good afternoon.